Ahoy, hoy, everybody. Welcome to the Nerd Herd. I'm joined as always by these two. This one's Phil. Phil, say hello.
Hola.
This one's Scott. Say hello.
Hello, Shamai. How you doing?
And we are reading today my pick for Wave 2, Volume 2 of the Nerd Herd. We're reading Kaiju Score from Aftershock Comics from 2020 to 2021. 4 issues, written by James Patrick and art by Rem BROO. Before we get into it, I do just want to say a big happy birthday to Scott, who had a birthday recently. We didn't wish him.
You shouldn't have.
Sorry about that, Scott. Happy birthday.
Okay. No problem. Thank you so much. I had a great day.
Good. I'm glad. So we're going to get into this book because this was my pick and I'm gunning for Phil's top spot.
Not with us, you're not.
Before we do get into this, though, I do just want to say hello to everyone who has joined. We've got Firehawk in the chat. He says hello. We have everyone's favorite Fuzzy Tennis Ball. It's Fuzzy Dunlop. He says, evening all. Actually reading Kaiju Score just now, so we'll catch the replay. Have a great show. He did say he had trouble finding issue 2, so hopefully he gets it in time. And he can watch us tomorrow. We've got Liam in, the Funky Gibbons. Heidi ho. Hey, Liam. Blue Sonic every week. Hi, Blue Sonic. Thank you for joining.
5 for 5. He's doing well.
He really is. He's doing better than some of us. I wasn't even here the entire time. We've got Chris from Off My Shelves, evening all, and Tom from This Month in Movies. I must say, how corny is Scott's voice in that intro? Yes,
it's not perfect. My voice. It's not my voice.
We hired a professional voice actor for that.
A professional voice actor.
And he also says happy birthday to Scott. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
So, birthday wishes out the way, intros out the way. Let's see. What do we think of this book? I'm really eager because
What's the book about,
I read the first. Oh, we do need a synopsis, don't we? So this book is about Marco. Marco is a heist specialist. He comes up with ideas for heists and robberies. They tend to go a little bit wrong because he doesn't figure out the minor details of each plan. This one is no different. He gets together a ragtag group, a safecracker, an accessories tool specialist, and he heads out for the heist of the century. It's not just an art heist. He is going to he's going to do this heist during a kaiju attack on the city. So his idea is, while everyone's distracted by the kaiju, they will swoop in to this art museum, get into the vault, get the art, and get out, and no one will even know what happened. And of course, nothing goes to plan, from getting the money for the heist to actually getting the correct people for the heist and actually getting someone on his team that has nefarious intentions, shall we say?
Yeah, you can say that.
I'm just going to take my green screen off. I think it's causing a bit of an issue.
Okay.
Again. So yeah, that's Kaiju Score. It's only 4 issues. It's a nice, easy read. Sit down, coffee, read it in an hour. So, Phil? Oh yeah, you've got the trade. I've got the singles. Phil, have you got the trade or the singles?
I have the trade.
Awesome.
Yeah, so whenever you picked this, Shane, a few weeks back, I had a quick look at the art online, thought it looks pretty cool. I'm going to buy the trade. It was quite cheap on Amazon, so I grabbed it. And I'll have to admit, cover to cover, it was fine.
Fine.
Whoa, no.
That's a little bit. That's harsh.
No.
Well, okay, so whenever I read what the book was about, it's a heist. You got Godzilla. I thought this is going to be so cool. So I was expecting, and ironically, your name does say Ocean's 11. I was expecting Ocean's 11 with Godzilla. What we got was Paul Blart Mall Cop with some random kaijus. Like, it was just quite dumb. Dumb. Like the I found it hard to find the tone of the book, if you know what I mean. I don't think it was an overly serious book. It was a wee bit kind of like a bit too silly for me.
Yeah, it can't be too serious. It's about giant monsters and a art robbery. That's
the way I thought. I thought Ocean's 11. I thought Brad Pitt, George Clooney with Godzilla. That's what I'm expecting. This
listen,
kind of
like
grandeur thing.
Ocean's 11 is about all of these like professional people. They really know what they're doing. But the sounds of this, like no one in this team had a successful heist. You know, you could say yes for the safecracker, but then the safecracker wasn't really the safecracker. You know,
And
so
then you had
like
the unlucky charm, didn't you? He messed up his last 3 heists.
So like and you learn that pretty early on that everyone is deeply flawed, and then that instantly sets the tone for the whole story. And then you've just got a very cool sprinkling of kaijus here and there, which I thought was a great addition. Phil, I think you read it wrong.
I think, if I'm being honest, I do think maybe I have read it wrong. I did enjoy it. Like, I'm not lying. Like, 4 issues, nice, quick, easy, cover to cover. I enjoyed it and it was fun. But that's like kind of where it ends. Like, even the artwork, like I've seen this kind of artwork before, but it's not like that it's inconsistent, but there's some pages look horrible and some pages look nice, some pages look horrible, some pages look nice. Like, how many knuckles do people have to have in their hand? The way they're drawn, like they're all like right angled knuckles and stuff.
Why is that even a thing to notice? I mean, who cares? It's just a knuckle, man.
I just picked it up, and all their arms are awkward and oblong, and their legs are all weird, and it's fine for some stories. I don't think I liked it the whole way through. There were some pieces were quite nice, but just it wasn't great the whole way through. And it's not like he was poor and inconsistent. It just did look nice at times. But sticking with the tone, where I was going, and it kind of fit. This is where it fits in for me. So we're all fans of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Okay.
99.
Yeah. So Marco is Jake Peralta, right? He's a bit silly, a bit goofy, a bit daft. Does a few little things.
And this is the Halloween heist.
And yeah. And then he finds his way towards the end and wins the day and solves a case, but by sheer luck. Like, there was nothing, like no skill involved really in this. To be honest.
I don't think that's fair. I'll come back to that in just a sec. I do just want to say hello. Connie's in the chat. She says bonjour, and she also does agree with your. Oh, Scott's mum's in the chat. Hi.
Yeah.
They jumped on me. Connie also agrees that the art is fine. I think maybe I don't know. Maybe people have obviously people have different tastes. I think fine is a little bit unfair for this. Triple G's in. He says evening all, working late tonight, so we'll catch up on the rewind. Have a great show. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. I think saying it's luck, and I think that's not quite fair for Marco, because he does come up with, like, he's shit sharp. He comes up with ideas really quickly, like to get the safe out. When he grabs the tension wire and puts it across a building, so that when the kaiju walks past, she drags it out. That's not luck, because he even has to go out and guide her in the right direction. So I don't think that's fair.
But again, well, the luck aspect of that would have been he spoke to a kaiju hoping that it would go, oh, okay, I'll go that way. I mean, like...
Again, that's something Jake Peralta would do, you know.
It wasn't. I think it was more like he was just in her way, and rather than just step on him, she just doesn't. Like they said at the beginning, they don't care about humans. They'll just, if you don't mess with them, they don't mess with you.
Yeah.
So I took that like she really cares, so she just goes the other way. I think it was a really smart plan to connect the wire across the building, have the kaiju walk past.
That was quite clever, and I did like that part, as well as whenever he realized that Gina wasn't Gina. You know, that little detail. Like, listen, I've seen him play with your hair. You've got whatever. I don't know definition of her, whatever.
Yeah,
different color. Don't match the drapes. Basically, is what he said.
So
basically, what he said.
He knew straight away that that's not the real Gina. I quite like that he was on the ball that way, but also I have another gripe as well. It's like, when did he turn into Tom Cruise? Because, or like, there was some point, like, I think one of the tension ropes that did a break or something, but he jumped down a flight of stairs, jumped over the kaiju's tail in like a roundabout way to tie the rope on again. It's like where'd this come from?
Oh no, I think you're mixing up two scenes there. He does jump down the stairs. That's the wrong way. So he goes down, jumps on the ATV and blocks her path. When he ties it around the tail, that's at the end.
At the very end,
he ties it around. Yeah, he ties it around her tail when she's going back into the water, so they can get away with the art.
That's when he just became Action Man for a couple scenes. It's just like,
I have to say, I really liked Marco in this. I liked the overconfidence that like he kept getting knocked down, but he just kept building himself back up. I thought that was a great character. I really liked Gina. I know she wasn't really Gina, but her mouth, like her potty mouth, was fantastic. The attitude was just perfect for me. I really enjoyed that. And the guy they send, what's his name? Pearson. Yeah, the guard dog. Like I really liked him as this arrogant, horrible person. You know he's going to betray them at some point. You're just waiting for it, and he does it in such a great way. Like when he goes and kills the guards, and he blames it on the other guy, and he says like he just burst in and went time to Van Gogh and just started shooting everything.
he was my favorite character, Pearson.
Well, Pearson, I couldn't wait for him to die.
No,
he just wound me up. He'd done my head in. Definitely did. So I was very pleased. Like like you could tell it needed to happen. He just wouldn't let up, and he was just this constant dick all the time. And yeah, it was just like this nagging thing in the corner of everyone's head all the time. I just didn't like him.
It made sense though when he told you what, like he knew he was going to die. If Blackie figured out if Blackie didn't get his money or the thing went wrong, he was going to get blamed as well because he was on the mission. So you could see why he was like it. I'm not forgiving his attitude, but he did have a reason for it. He wasn't just bog standard bad guy, one level. He did have layers. Liam says, concept was great, execution was good, enjoyed the story, but the art was very hit and miss. So I guess that's a theme with quite a few people. Phil felt it and Connie felt it as well. So I guess the art isn't for everyone, and I can understand. For me, faces are very important, and when the characters were smaller, like when you saw the full body of them, the faces weren't great, but when you got a close-up of the face, they were stunning for me personally.
Like I think all of the character designs were quite like lanky. That's the only way I can think of to describe it. They're all quite long and dangly, you know what I mean? Like just a bit ragdoll type thing. But like overall, like the art, like it wasn't badly drawn, if you know what I mean, in terms of like, we had clean lines, we could tell what everything was. The colors were lush. I loved some of the colors, especially like there was always like, it always looked like there was a sunset happening. No matter what time of day there was always some sort of sunset going on. And then the stuff when whenever Marco talked about the plan, and like the style, the way the kind of art style changed. Like I got one of the pages up here. Just kind of goes to that kind of orangey, like light muted colors, and I really like that.
Every issue started like that as well, with like a completely tonal shift in the art, and it was really really good. I love that overly cartoony sort of like he had drawn that and was showing it to the group. This is what's going to happen.
I really like.
Connie says,
I really enjoyed it. Go on.
Yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say Connie has said, this just isn't a story that I think I'll remember in a couple of weeks. It was fine, enjoyable for what it was, but definitely wasn't a top tier story. Oh, see, I have to disagree. I think this is going to stay with me for a while. I'm going to like keep looking out for a volume 2, or if it comes back.
Yeah,
I think Connie and I are on the same page on this one. Like again, it was fine.
I think you've hacked Connie's account and you're there just commenting in the chat.
I can barely use Instagram and let them hack people's accounts.
I don't see it. Like I didn't have a problem with the art, with the coloring, with anything like that. The only issue I did have art-wise is some of the panels with the first kaiju. Some of it just didn't look right. When it was like, a wide shot and you saw the whole thing of it looked great. But then when he was all close up and he just had like the eye and a bit of a tusk or a mouth, it just looked a bit.
It was one of the things I had noted down as well. Like if this was any other book and you're getting the first kind of splash page off like the monster, you expect a lot of detail. Just to kind of showcase what they can do. Here's what they can do, and draw all sorts of, scales or something. But it just seemed like Scott was saying, at times it looked like a blob with an eye and a horn or a tusk or whatever it was, and that's about it. And I thought could have done a bit more detail. I can get the tone they're going for. They're not going for super serious and super detailed, but I just think a little bit more detail would be nice for the monsters.
I'll give you that. That one I'll give you. Yeah,
You can have that one, Phil. All right.
you get one. Everyone
Yeah.
gets one. We have the comic book reports in. Man, I just cannot be punctual. No, I don't think he's ever been on time. It's fine. You're here now. That's all that matters. All that matters.
Welcome.
So, we've discussed the art, but I think we should probably show our pages and discuss why we picked them. I think this one was hard for a couple of us because the art's nice through, and nothing really jumped out at you as a standalone page or a splash panel or anything like over the top. I will go we'll do Phil's first, shall we? We'll go clockwise. Phil, here's your page. Why did you pick it?
Again, there was nothing overly stand out. This one actually had a little bit of detail on the kaiju, in terms of the wrinkles in the skin. You've got this kind of like, I don't call them thorns, whatever they are, like on its hand, like kind of horns or whatever. But
Claws?
yeah, they're not quite claws, like those, like the same color as the skin, so they're not quite claws.
Yeah.
But the reason why I picked it is just for the top panel, and like suppose like the second part of the middle panel, like his death, like it's great, it's hilarious, and the fact that the shoe falls off and stuff, and like splattered against the wall, it was hilarious. He was my favorite character. I knew he was going to die, and I was happy for him to die, but I quite enjoyed the way he did die. And it's weird because like even the way the kind of horn goes through him is a wee bit. It could be anywhere else in the body, like even like through the belly or something, but just a wee bit higher up. I thought it was quite strange.
Yeah.
And then like the shoe flying off, and was his necklace or whatever that is flying off as well. That was pretty cool.
It kind of shows that kind of momentum and force that's hit him. Yeah.
And then he's just left this big gaping hole in the wall with his guts and blood all around it. It was, and even like Marco's face, he's like, ooh, like that's not how he would react if that was to happen.
No,
he was just.
But I've never seen a face like that drawn in a comic like that. Like, ooh, you know, like, and I think it's just like
I think the faces are great.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think sometimes maybe it's like they're trying to over embellish, is the right word? Like emphasize certain parts of the face. That's why you see like thick lines for the jaw. If you know what I mean. Like if you look, it's not shaded. It's like a thick line for his jaw. And it's the same thing for like their hands and their feet. They had like just like thick lines throughout their body parts, which I find quite odd. And the artist is clearly fond of right angles. You know, yeah. It's just like everything's right angled. Even her boobs, like her boobs is basically 90 degrees. Do you know what I mean? It's just everything's a right angle.
I really like the kaiju at the bottom as well, like ripping the throat out of the other one. That was cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
And did you figure out, like, when Marco says, like, I didn't know why she had so much fight in her, and I'd find out later. I think we all knew why she had that much fight in her, didn't we? You figured it out.
Just let the people in the chat who didn't read the book know.
Yeah, well, my page will show. I'll show my page then. We'll go counterclockwise.
Oh,
my page is because she had a baby.
Oh, you mean the kaiju?
The kaiju, yeah. Why the kaiju so hard?
Yeah.
I picked this page. It has no words on it, but I picked this page because I love the mother and baby, the way they're lying there with the baby like laying on its back with its arm up, its leg over his mum's head. I thought that was so adorable.
I didn't even notice that.
Him again.
What? Did you read this in the dark?
I think I get it. This is like the last page or one of the last pages, wasn't it? I think I was looking forward to ending.
Oh, right.
Oh my gosh. Really, like, not only has it got the cute, adorable baby kaiju, but it also goes full circle because you see she opens her eye and she looks at him and he just waves at her and he takes her safe and he leaves. I thought it was really nice, but the art is great. Like it's very monotone because they're underwater, but I thought it's done really, really well.
Yeah, I agree.
That was my page, but Scott, yours was going to be my pick.
Yours was going to be my pick. Yeah, go on.
Here's Scott's page.
So this is the first page of issue 3, and it's just so cool. It's basically like blueprints, you know, and just like how do you call it? Just like a sketched thing of each of the kaijus, the two kaijus that we see in the story, and it kind of shows parts of their anatomy. So it shows like their skull and like how that's how the bones in there are arranged, and the tails, and how how again that works, and it's just really cool seeing that kind of detail in the anatomy of both of these kaijus, and they've thought about it, and in general, like, you don't see this stuff very much, but when I do see it, I do like this kind of stuff, and I'm a bit of a sucker for it. So it was really cool. Just these two little bits, just showing you more detail about each of the kaijus and the things they're capable of, and how.
See, this is very. This page is really cool, and I like the way they've done it. But I think the fact that you've picked this page whenever it's not the majority of the art style.
No, look, I will be honest with you. Like Shane said earlier, nothing, like, there was no one amazing page like stuff we've seen before. Like, there weren't any like massively amazing splash pages or double pages, or like very cool panels. But because when our process, when we read these books, we're reading it with in mind. Ooh, I need to look for a page, and then you see when you go, okay, that's my page for now. Will I find a better one? But for me, I just read the whole thing. Nothing really jumped out at me. Nothing made me go, whoa, or like, wow. But but this page for me was I just like that kind of detail. Just the fact that they gave extra detail. They didn't have to show us the insides of these kaijus this way and how it worked. But
it's like
nice
straight out of a biology book, isn't it? It's great.
Yeah, great, man.
And I love the text though, because they're talking like if they were on a dating app, how they would describe themselves.
Yeah, it's like their Tinder bio.
Yeah, Marco's just so fun. But yeah, I myself had to go back. I read it, and then I went back to find a page, and I don't normally do that. I do what Scott does. I pick a page, and then if I find a better one, that'll be my page. So Connie has a favorite page. Can we just see what Connie's page is? My favorite page is actually the bit where Marco is sitting on the beach alone after the heist is done, and it shows just how far from reality his vision was. Yeah, he's on the beach alone. Then he goes gambling, doesn't he? And he's not happy.
He does,
and then he's
he
in
does the same things, but he's just a bit sunken about it, a bit
unsatisfied.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about this book.
I feel like this is your word of the day, mate. Yeah.
So I just want to cheat a little bit, Shane, if you will allow me to kind of show just one other panel for the viewers at home, because when I mentioned right angles, right, how many right angles does he need on his chin?
Oh God! Oh gosh, yeah.
Is he turning into a kaiju there? So explain for the podcast what this is, Phil.
So this is a page towards the end after the heist is done, and I've obviously referred to it, right angles. There's a page of him looking a bit kind of, I don't know, sorrow or misunderstand, whatever, but his chin has about a dozen crooked lines. Like, it's...
See, I didn't notice this when I've read it through, but now I'm looking at it again, I kind of feel sick.
Yeah, like, I don't...
It makes me feel gross looking at it.
Like,
every other page is fine.
That's what I mean. Every other page is perfectly normal. Well, normal quotation marks. But like it's literally the very last page, and he has, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I don't really know how to describe, apart from the fact that he has.
I think it's meant to be stubble, but they've drawn the line too thick, so it looks like his jawline rather than just his stubble. It's got to be, because he doesn't have a pointy chin throughout.
It's not even just a pointy chin; it's like a multiple pointed chin. It's just so odd. And there's little details like that I couldn't really like let go, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's understandable if they add up. If all the little things add up and culminate in a massively pointed chin like that on the final page. Chris from Off My Shelf says, I wouldn't have taken a selfie with that kaiju. Pick one with a less laughable look and better arms. I think the monster designs were quite good in this. I know they weren't like overly detailed, but you could tell them both apart when they were fighting. There was no, like, when they were together, there was no clump of color, like no clash or anything. You could tell the female from the male. They had completely different tails and faces and head shapes. So I think you only see, what do you see, 3 in the entire book? 3 kaiju. You see the woman, the girl twice. You see her at the beginning, and then again at the end. Is there not a third we see somewhere along the lines?
No
Might
idea.
be mistaken.
Don't
Maybe you
remember
only
a
see 2 then.
The baby. Third.
Albert Langford is in the chat. He says, hello,
bud.
everyone.
Thanks
For
for
joining. Connie didn't notice the baby at the end either. How do you not notice the massive baby line? No one paid attention to this book. Scott, you and I are the only ones that read this book and actually paid attention.
Just us, mate. Just us. Can I talk about the story?
Yes, let's talk about the story, shall we?
So,
yes.
One thing that really stood out for me with this book is how much I enjoy the dialogue. I mean, for me, it felt very realistic. It didn't feel put on. It didn't feel like a superhero book talking all nobly and just. It was just 4 or 5 characters that were just talking very realistically, swearing all the time, just taking the piss out of each other, digging at each other, questioning each other. And I just thought, art aside, like this was a very, the dialogue was very realistic, and I just loved it, and I was really into it. I was really enjoying what these characters were saying and how they were saying it, and yeah, I felt a part of it.
Yeah, it draws you in. Like there were so many things that actually, not only did you have the comedy from from Pierre,
Pearson.
Pearson.
Yeah.
You had the comedy from him and his Pierre from Pearson. You had the comedy from him, but you also had the mystery from Gina. You wanted to know why she took over this woman's identity. Why is she joining this group? Why did she need to get there so desperately? I thought that was really well done. And then you had poor the black cat, or the broken mirror, whatever they called him, the poor bad luck charm. He just desperately needed a win because he had just completely hit rock bottom.
He was Italian, wasn't he? Palmiero?
Palmiero.
Yeah.
And then you had Marco, who just wanted to prove himself because he's great at coming up with ideas. It's just the little details, and
the execution.
And each of them brought something really unique to the group. And it was fun to read their dynamics, because you put 2 together and they had a completely different dynamic than they did with someone else. And it was just, I thought it was done so well.
I agree with Scott as well. The kind of like the dialogue between the characters was quite casual and fun, but also they're heisting, so it's serious enough. But you're right that the fact that they paired off Pearson and the, what was his name again, Palmiero, together in their own little side kind of quest. They mixed really well. Like their kind of back and forth was good.
And he finally stands up for himself right at the end, and then he gets shanked for it.
That's something I actually quite liked. That was quite clever. The fact that obviously Pearson, who's the babysitter, who's stroke the hipster gangster hybrid, that he sees it's coming. He shoots the guards. He thought there's no point making this harder than it needs to be. He'll shoot the guards. And then once Palmiero finished his part, don't need to no more. I'll stab you. Godzilla takes you away. Done. And then obviously he doesn't kill Gina because he needs safe correct. And then obviously he would do if, I can't remember the reason why he didn't kill her after she was finished. There was a reason for it.
He was about to. He was about to kill her.
Yeah.
Marco was like, "No, don't kill me instead." And then, he got
laughed at him,
shafted by the tail.
That's another thing I wasn't certain I liked. It was clear that Marco and Gina, or whatever her real name was, did we find out her real name? Michelle, was it?
Yeah, Michelle.
Was it Michelle? That they also had this kind of potential romance blooming, but it was a bit too obvious as well and too quickly done. Like obviously, like I mentioned earlier, like the tone of the movie. Like if this was a movie, like it's just quite simple: have a heist, man and woman, get together at the end, go away, all loved up.
I think it looked fast, but as you're reading it, they do say that they had been in that position like 4 or 5 times before, waiting for the kaiju to come ashore. So they had spent several days, weeks together in that storage locker. Yeah. And I don't think it was like they weren't in love. I think there was just this spark between them. Maybe it was just physical attraction, which is understandable. They're both pretty people.
Apart from his chin.
Apart from his chin.
His
She
jaggedy
might
chin.
like pointy chins. It might have the right feel.
Okay. All right. Moving on. I mean, I think like the fact that these characters were all flawed was definitely a plus. I mean, we couldn't have had. You think of heist movies, something goes wrong, something needs to go wrong for the movie, the TV show, whatever, to be interesting and to grip us, the viewers, the readers, whatever. So to add each of these characters having their major flaw, and then the plot twists, the fact that Gina isn't Gina, and Pearson starts killing off the crew, and for his reasons and stuff. It was yes, it was 4 issues, but I think like they put everything essential for a heist kind of story without it feeling rushed or squashed in or anything like that, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, because the way he develops his plan and explains the plan, the fact that they've been in the storage locker 4 or 5 times, like you didn't have loads of stuff you could put into that, so it wasn't really till the last or the second half of the story, I suppose, where the action happened and the heist happened, and then obviously all the things go wrong and stuff. And but I do like how Marco was quick to kind of think on his feet to change things. And you're right, things have to go wrong, or else it'll just be a boring story. Like,
yeah, you're like,
here's
okay,
some art.
They did it, great.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just, again, I think I misjudged the tone of the book before I started it, and it did become silly. Still enjoyable. I'm not saying it was a bad book. It was still good, but yeah, I don't think I would have liked it for another 2 issues. I think the 4 issues was grand.
4 was fine.
Yeah, because Connie says, I didn't mind the pacing of the story. I was worried it would be super complicated. Super compact, because it's only 4 issues, but it wasn't too bad. I agree with that. They didn't rush anything. Nothing felt like it was left open at the end. Like they managed to close everything that was opened. He sends the money to the guard that got killed, that was his inside man, and the other guards. He sends the money to Black Cat's mother. Michelle gets her crew back, and he gets all the money that he wanted, and he gets everyone asking him to do another score. He gets everything he wants, and then it ends with a nice, we could come back if we want for a second volume at some point, or we can just leave it here on a nice ending. But it could, and I thought that was done really, really well. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, I'm not gonna lie.
I did like the way that Marco, obviously, his main aim wasn't like the $16 million art. Obviously, it's nice, but he just wanted to rebuild his reputation. I did like that. But the fact that he had, he had there's a few things went wrong. One of them was like a armored truck, money truck raid that went wrong. And there's just kind of 2 other things that are just quite simple. And then he just jumps from that to like, this still art with a kaiju on top of us. Like, why go to that extreme? Like, why do something else to build your reputation? He just went for the most extreme thing.
And from 0 to 100 straight away.
I just love what went wrong on his previous jobs. They were doing an underwater job, but he didn't calculate the weight for the man propelled
silver
from a submarine, and he didn't calculate the weight needed for a propeller. That they had a human propelled motor, so they didn't get the money there. They jumped out of plane, it was a different time zone, so they didn't have someone waiting for them on time. And then he was a getaway driver, but he had the wrong radio. So when he was telling them that cops were there, they weren't getting the message. Just super simple little things. I thought that was such a nice little touch. Like, he comes up with great plans, but he doesn't think of the small details, and it shows in this heist as well. I thought that,
but
really,
it's just very lucky
really
that
fun.
it all went well,
Well, it has to. It couldn't have gone any other way. It would have been a terrible story.
Yeah, of course it would. But I think one of my favorite aspects of this, though, was the fact that it's called Kaiju Score. There was kaijus in there, but every story and movie and film you watch, movie and TV show that you watch with kaijus involved, they are pretty much the main focus. And they weren't the main focus. They were like this side character, they were just this accessory to the heist. They were just part of the heist plan. And I thought that was very, very clever of them to do that, just add in 2 kaijus and just use them, but don't focus on them that much, but use them in a way to kind of propel the story a little bit.
I love that they were just something that was so commonplace. Like when they do the weather on TV, they just have Kaiju watch, and they just go, "We have a Kaiju off." You know, it's okay because she's going straight past. We shouldn't have to worry about it. Like, get your brollies out. You know, like it was like.
It's another thing too with the trade. I don't know if it's the same in digital or single issues, but at the back of the trade they have like these extras, and it's like kind of like government or council kind of leaflets of how to act, like you'd expect in your workplace if like if there's a fire or something happens in your workplace, like have these kind of like leaflets or pamphlets to explain what you need to do.
Yeah, I
quite like the thought put into that. Like it just makes like the kaiju like real commonplace, like you're saying, like really like it could happen any time. And the fact that they have like different kind of evacuation plans, like if there was like a 100 kilometers out or something, you know it's like different zones and you don't have to leave your house, but if it's closer by so many miles you have to leave and so on. And even the fact that like the National Guard have to keep like a 15-kilometer radius or something around the monster because they don't want to disturb it. That's the big cause of like destruction, is like fighting the kaijus, I suppose. I quite like that. That was a good kind of thought put into that.
Did it say anywhere how long they've dealt with kaijus? Like how long has this been a thing? Because it seems like a very common thing. Like Phil's just said, like in this world, it's just this normal thing. You know, this now on the weather, and people have plans for it. It's not just like the surprise thing. People understand. Like they even understood to the point that like they just sometimes like to go into cities to sunbathe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just those kind of little details, and it makes me think like how long have these kaijus just been wandering around for them to have this many plans in place, and for this team of heisters to not be freaked out by the fact that they're seeing these kaijus as well.
I know.
It's great.
It must have been going on forever. Chris says the extras came at the end of each single issue, which was better than lumping them at the end. To be honest, they were his favourite part. They were great. Andy's in from Perpetual Comics. Thanks for joining, Andy. They were really fun. They were like fun pamphlets. I think they were spot on to add to the world. The fact that, like Scott just said, how long has this been going on? The art gallery, because one thing that really bugged me, the art gallery had a plan in place for their most valuable art, was basically to drop it into a hole and cover it with cement. That sounds like a one and done though, because how often can you do that? Because then you've got to dig it back up and set it all back up again. But they made it sound like they come to shore quite often and just walk through. So if every time a kaiju comes to shore, that gallery has to drop the safe into the floor, cover it with cement, and then how do you get it back out again? Because it was completely covered and it was dry. The cement was completely dry because they had to dig down. I felt like that was a bit of a flaw in the gallery's security system.
Yeah, but the fact that like Marco, like we had this elaborate plan to dig down to crack the cement with explosions or whatever it was, and then obviously get through the safe. But the fact that they had to change, you know, there and then and just go through the top, what seemed like a really thin layer of cement to like break through to get to the top of the safe. I suppose like you're right, it wasn't that secure. You know, if the kaiju had to fall on top of that and just smashed it all up. But I suppose the safe was waterproof, wasn't it? They did say it's waterproof. And
it was Ed,
it's probably secure, safe. They're just obviously taking their chances. But I think I don't know. I think the whole idea of like, you know, the kaiju's being there as normal day life, I think it's a good change, because normally with like a movie or comic, it's like, here's a kaiju, like we've never seen one before in our life. What do we do?
Yeah.
You know, and they're all like scrambling to work out how to beat this thing. But that wasn't the story, like we're saying. It was a side part to the main story, because this is just normal day life. I like that.
Because Liam says they refer to them as natural disasters, so he assumes they've always dealt with them, and that would make sense for them to have such good plans in place. Because I don't think, apart from, I mean, one person gets eaten by the kaiju, but that's because he gets covered in chum, and another one gets hit with the tail, but no one else dies from kaiju in the book. The rest are shot.
Yeah,
I love the way that he kind of blamed, essentially at the start, he blamed climate change on the fact that there was two kaijus, because there were so many mullet fish or something like that because of the water stream was heated up too early or something silly like that. There, like it's like I love how they've done that. In fact, because there's so many mullet fish that there's more kaijus coming, and that's why we have two.
Yeah. So now that now that we've all read this and we feel how we feel about the book, how do you feel about the fact that Sony has picked this up to turn it into a TV show?
I thought it was a movie. It was a TV show.
I may be wrong, but I think I read TV show. But how would you like to see it on the screen? Either way,
I would like to see it exactly like this book. Like, just keep it like do 8 issues. 8 episodes. Like each issue can be 2 episodes. Don't add too much filler because you don't need to be adding drama and romance and all that malarkey into it to stretch it out. Keep it nice and tight like this, and have it as a limited series. Don't carry on. Don't give us 8 seasons of something for a 4-issue book. A nice limited series, 8 episodes. Throw some money behind it. I think they could do really well with it.
And they do end this story in a way that it could go on, because Michelle was asking Marco if he would like to join her plan, her heist. So, so there is room for more, and maybe the fact that Sony has picked this up has gotten in the way of more being written at the moment, because this is called Volume 1. So this isn't just a standalone story. This isn't just a one-off. There may be more. So I enjoyed it. Like if they keep the dialogue the same, I'm happy.
Yeah, if they cast the right people as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I mean, like I said before,
there we go.
Paul Blart Mall Cop and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that's the tone of this movie. And if they were going to make the movie that way, I would watch it. It would entertain. It'd be fine. Cool.
See, I felt
cool,
more like
cool.
you say Paul Blart and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh, it is going to be a movie, not a series. Yeah, so that would be much better then, because then they won't have the time to add a filler. So a nice 2-hour film, perfect.
Yeah.
But I was getting Army of the Dead vibes from this. They go in to steal from a casino when there are all zombies around, and they're going in to steal from an art gallery while there are kaiju around. So I was getting that sort of vibe from it, not like Paul Blart, but I do see the 911 stuff now you've mentioned.
Yeah, for Army of the Dead, like it's obviously a more darker tone. There's a lot more gore and stuff in that movie and whatever. But even it's not a serious zombie movie, I suppose. So it doesn't have to be a serious kaiju movie at the end of the day. I mean, we've had serious movies and they've never really hit the mark. So a bit of comedy, a bit of silliness might work for it, I suppose.
Yeah, like imagine Kong versus Godzilla, and while that's happening, people are robbing from an art museum. It would just be that, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Just make that.
Yeah, it's fine.
Simple. Chris says Pacific Rim heisting. I mean, that sounds like a porno.
I was going to say the same thing. Oh, dear.
Connie says she feels a bit meh about it being on screen. I'd maybe watch it, but I don't see it being a favourite. That might depend on who's cast, I suppose, as well. If you like the actors, then you'll definitely watch it.
Some people go mad for anything kaiju as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? That is a thing. That's a selling point in itself.
Andy says this was an incredibly boring run of comics. Take kaiju out of the book, and it's a bit crap. Ooh, because
then it'll just be called Score.
Yeah, it is like
Score.
it would just be a normal heist where a few guards are dead and they get a save. They had to add this fun, unique element into it to make it the story it is.
They've done this before. There was one about a hurricane. They did a movie about a heist during a hurricane. I can't remember what it was called. It's probably called like Hurricane Heist or something like that. It's probably a really unoriginal name.
That actually sounds familiar, Hurricane Heist.
But that was like really fun to watch. And then they did the one, was it Hard Rain with Christian Slater, where they're robbing the place.
That was good. Morgan Freeman. That was good.
See? So they do these heist movies with a disaster happening. So you can make it work if you just get the right people.
There is a film called The Hurricane Heist.
That's the one then. It's really fun to watch. Really fun.
You got 5.1 out of 10. But this is the thing about
Did it blow you away?
Oh my goodness!
Oh God.
Remember we used to know Scott. We
Dad
used to like him.
jokes from Scott Shelf.
But I think if this went to the cinema, it'll be a flop. If this is a movie, I think it's something like maybe straight to Netflix, straight to Amazon
Netflix,
Prime,
yeah.
something like that, and it'll be top 10. It'll trend, I'm sure, in the UK or whatever, and people will watch it. But then once it's watched, it'll just kind of be forgotten about. Just a wee bit like this book.
I think, yeah. Like I say, I will keep an eye out. If a volume 2 comes out, I'm definitely going to read it.
Yeah.
I think I really, really had fun with this. So we're all on different levels of enjoyment from this book, which is good because that's the whole point of the book club.
100%.
If we all liked it and we all had the same opinions, it'd be boring because we'd just be echoing each other's thoughts. So this
We would be like
makes it more
Kaiju
fun.
Score without the kaiju. Just boring and agreeing with everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, really boring and a bit crap. That'll go on volume 2, Andy. Just to put it on the back of the book. Volume 1, bit boring and a bit crap.
Yeah.
So I think we've said everything we care to say about it. So shall we jump into scores
Yes.
and final thoughts? So in the chat, if you've read the book, please give us your score. Let us know what you thought. Give us your score and we will add it to the herd score and we will get an average and see. I doubt it, but we'll see if I get to knock Phil off the top spot with my pick.
I'm on the score, so don't worry about that.
Awesome. So Phil, final thoughts and scores from you, please.
I have 2 scores written down, okay, and I was waiting for this conversation to see if I could be convinced to raise it, and I haven't, unfortunately. It was fine. It was good. It was fun, cover to cover. It provided entertainment. It did what it said in the tin. Kaiju Score, being a heist, fun, good. I think it didn't hit on a lot of points. I didn't really like the relationship between Marco and Michelle in terms of it seemed very quick and stuff. I understand like 4 issues, whatever. There was a few things that we bit Dominic talking to the kaiju, like, here, remember we took a selfie last week? You remember me? Sort of walk this way for me instead. Like, it's a wee bit strange. But again, I had fun. Art was odd at times. I'm seeing a comment there from Chris who says that he thinks I'm going to give it a 5. It's not a 5. It's actually a 6, which I have written down. And me and Connie, funny enough, I've agreed the whole way throughout this show. She's given it a 6 too. So excellent.
What was the other score that you were teetering on?
6.5. And I've
written
not
6.5
6.5 if convinced. So no.
Half a point.
If convinced. So you weren't convinced.
No. Sorry.
The 6. Fair enough. No, that's your score. If that's what you felt, fair enough. Scott, what did you think?
This was a fun read. But it's not the most mind-blowing, action-packed or emotional kind of thing. It is just a good, fun read that I probably will only read the once. I'm happy I've picked up the book. I'd much rather reading it physically than digitally anyway. As I'm happy to have it in my collection, but I'm not that arsed. It was fun. I liked the twists in there. I liked how engaging the dialogue was and some of the characters. I did enjoy that. Like the dialogue I said earlier, it felt very realistic for me, like normal people in our world would talk, and I really enjoyed that part of it. Using kaijus as a side thing was cool as well, and it was like you expect from any sort of heist thing. Something went wrong and they redeemed themselves. So the only unique thing about this was the fact that they added kaijus. Everything else was just heist. But I did enjoy it more than Phil, and I was convinced. So I am going to give it a 6.5.
6.5. Let's just see what some scores before I tell you mine. Andy straight in there with a 3, a solid 3 though, not a soft 3.
Really hard 3.
Connie with a 6, Chris with a 5, and Liam with a 6.5. So also not high scoring. Sorry, did I miss someone? Yeah, sorry, Blue Sonic with a 6 as well. I
Can't
found
forget
this a
Blue
fun
Sonic.
one. One and done story that it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Yeah, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. I'll give it a 6. That's fair enough. That's absolutely fair. But for me, I absolutely love this. I wasn't too sure at first because the art style for me at the very beginning put me off a little bit because it wasn't what I'm used to. I found it a little bit manga-esque, and I'm not really into that, like the sharp lines, like Phil was saying, right angles and all that. I'm not too into that. But as it went on, I fell in love with the art. I fell in love with the characters and just everything about it. I loved all of the characters, individual perks and their pluses and their minuses, everything about them. I enjoyed the story, the heist, the kaiju. I had so much fun reading this. When it was over, I was actually disappointed that I didn't have any more to read. Yeah, it wasn't easy to find like a standout page, but I don't think that book's about this. This is just about entertaining you for 4 issues, and it did. I was thoroughly entertained. From start to finish, I was happy. I was laughing at all the jokes. You know, when they were slagging each other off, that was hilarious. That's what I would say to people who would, if I was having a back and forth with them. I thought it was great. It's not the best book I've ever read. Obviously, it's not a 10. I'm not that.
I was worried.
9.5.
No. But when I score it on the fact that I had so much fun reading this book. I don't regret reading it. I'm so glad I picked it up. I'm so glad I stopped, because I bought the first issue when it came out, and I read the first issue and I stopped straight away because I was like, I want to read this for the herd. I want to hear what everyone has to say about it. I'm so glad I did that, because then I got to read it in one go. I didn't have to do monthly. And I really, really enjoyed this, and I really hope they do a volume 2. And I'm obviously going to watch a TV show or movie, whichever it is. But for me, this is an 8, because when I put this down, I was gutted I didn't have any more to read. So this is an 8.
Okay, an 8.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great. All right, awesome. Well, I've got the scores. So the audience score, your average came to 5.3, and then adding your average to Phil's 6, my 6.5, and Shane's 8, this brings us to a nice 6.5.
I'll take that.
Good, you got no choice. So let's take a look at where this comes on the leaderboard.
Yes. What a shock.
At the moment, it is in last place.
It's fourth. Fourth is good.
Fourth place.
Fourth place sounds good. Sounds better than last.
Yeah. Yes,
I mean, it is last, but it sounds better than fourth.
Still
It's in the
top 10.
10.
Yeah.
In 6 weeks' time, you're top 10 for 6 weeks. Excellent. I'm just.
No, I see where you're all coming from. I understand like the gripes, and I understand things that people liked and didn't like. I do, but for me, I just had so much fun reading it. This was right up my alley.
Oh yeah.
I do think it was fun. I'm not denying it was fun and it was enjoyable. It's just, again, I was maybe thinking too much at the start of what I wanted to get from it. I don't usually do, but I did this time around.
Fair. We have Stormcore Collectibles jumping in right at the end. Evening, guys.
What the hell?
Hey, Alice. Thanks for joining. A little bit late.
Yeah.
I think Andy was asking if I was reading the same book. I was reading it with a different mindset. I must have been in a really good mood when I read it. So that was my pick for this week. It was, once again, Kaiju Score from Aftershock Comics. Next week, whose pick is it next week?
It's me.
You want to tell them what we're reading next week, Scott?
Yes, sir. Next week we are reading The Kill Lock. This is a standalone story about, what I understand it's about 4 robots that are kind of held prisoner on this planet, and they're linked together. And the premise is, if one dies, they all die. Ooh. And that's the only reason I picked this, because that sounded interesting. Some sort of...
It does.
Yeah, robot.
There's a film from the early 90s where prisoners have a necklace on, and if they get too far apart, their heads explode. I think it's Christopher Lambert. It's in that. Yeah, I think that's called Deathlock or Kill Lock or something. Yeah.
So this isn't an original idea.
They added robots. It's fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Yeah.
It's like kaiju. Heist movies. That's not a kaiju.
Who's the publisher for that, Scott?
It's
I
a
can't
weird
remember.
one. It's a new ideas or something. It's called.
I think it's
or-
I think it's IDW.
what is it?
Where is it?
Does it?
Yeah,
have
it's
it on-
IDW.
There we go.
Oh, wrong one.
It's IDW. Mm-hmm.
Lovely. Just take a note of that. If anyone wants to read along next week with Kill Lock, pick it up.
Yes.
How many issues is it?
6.
Lovely. Six
Six
issues.
altogether.
Get that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, get that. And if anyone has been mildly interested in this story and do want to pick this up, then don't forget the Amazon link is in the description, as well as the Amazon link for next week's video is in the description for that video. So just go there, click that. Any money we raise from that will go back to you.
Awesome.
Nice.
So that's it. We should go around and see what we've got coming up. I mean, I should probably just skip him because he'll promise something and never give it to us, won't he? But
Not even
I'll
a
ask him
promise.
anyway because I'm super polite.
The boy who cried video.
I deleted Premiere Pro from my system a couple weeks ago. It's still deleted, so when I install it, I'll think about making a video of some sort.
How I
nice.
reinstalled Premiere Pro.
Yeah, that's when
Let's make a
fails.
video of that.
Yeah.
Scott, what do you have coming up?
The auction. We've got the auction this weekend on Sunday at 7 p.m. We are going to be supporting
Saturday?
No, Sunday. It's changed.
Oh, you've moved it.
Sunday.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry,
it's
my
going to
bad.
be on Sunday at 7 p.m. In support of Ret UK, which is a charity that Phil asked to be put into the mix, and the wheel landed on it, and that's what we will be supporting. So coming over, we've got obviously we've got comics, we've got trades, we might have a Funko Pop or 2 or 3. We've got some other sort of it's not just comics. We're starting to amass some other things as well, so it's really cool. So come on down and just see if there's anything you like, and just support the charity. Can't wait to see you.
Awesome. So that's Sunday at 7 over on Scott's
Yes.
channel, Scott's Shelf. Just type
Yeah.
in Scott's Shelf into YouTube. You'll find Scott's lovely face. Click on it, hit that bell, and come and join the auction. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. I might have to dip out though. I'll only be able to watch the beginning because I'll be driving
It's fine. No
towards
worries.
the end. I'm gutted because you did say Saturday, and I was like, yes, it's a
fine.
Saturday.
Sorry, mate.
Sharpening up my sniping skills.
Ooh.
I love it. I'd
Cleaning your scope.
Yeah. So Alistair from Stormcore, everything he bids on, I'm going to jump in the last second.
Watch out.
I know he loves it.
You've got the entertainment from that in the chat if you come along as well. Just watch those
Yeah.
two sniping each other. It's great fun.
Yeah.
For me, Dawn of Comics Quiz Night 13 is up on my channel, Dawn of Comics, and the viewer competition is still live. If you watch the quiz, throughout the quiz, a Hulk word smash pops up. Answer it, send the answer to me on Instagram, and you'll be put in the draw to win a prize. So that's still live for another 2 weeks. So that's good. So you can check it out, enter, and win a comic and a certificate. So that's me. So I think that's everything. I think we've gone round. I think we've told everyone what we're reading next week.
Yes, sir.
I think there's one thing left to do. I think you have
Karaoke?
to get.
Oh.
We could do karaoke. We could do karaoke. I'd watch. No one wants to hear me sing. Trust me.
I do a mean meatloaf.
Okay, I need to hear that now. So there's your next video idea. It's just you doing meatloaf.
Now I just really want to eat meatloaf, but yeah, okay.
So yes, thank you all for joining. We will see you next week at the same time with the Keel Lock. So everybody, in unison, get your waves out.
Oh, do this on his head. Bye, everyone.
Goodbye. See you next week. Bye.
Hurry up.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.